Hi, I'm Susan Keefe from Rhubarb Cod, and today I'm overthinking Sticky Toffee Pudding. For me, sticky toffee pudding is synonymous with cozy. I'll take a pudding in front of the fire any day of the week, but this is especially true during the holiday season. For me, sticky toffee pudding is as seasonally appropriate as a glass of nog, and it's not much harder to prepare. In fact, there are plenty of opportunities to make the whole dessert even easier on yourself. So if you're looking for a simple, crowd-pleasing, festive win, look no further than this butterscotchy wonder. For those of you who haven't had the pleasure of enjoying this iconic dessert, allow me to introduce you. Sticky toffee pudding is an iconic British dessert comprised of a date-flecked sponge cake positively soaked in a rich toffee sauce. The pudding is then served with either creme anglaise, unsweetened whipped cream, or my preferred accent, vanilla ice cream. You may remember from my hazelnut brownie video, I have a soft spot for warm desserts with ice cream. You could give me a fanciful opera cake or some handmade puff pastry delight, and I'll still make a beeline for a brownie sundae. It's just who I am. The origins of sticky toffee pudding are contested, as most things in food history are. But what's interesting about sticky toffee pudding is the timeline is not especially long. 1907 seems to be the earliest claim, but some say it was first served to the public in the 1940s. Others still say it was 1967, and even more say it was the 70s. It's not very old as desserts go, so it shouldn't be that difficult to pin down. But then again, who wouldn't want to claim responsibly? Gotta claim responsibly, everyone. Just like drinking. Sorry. You're just like, please shut up and just read the script or we're gonna be here all week. But then again, who wouldn't want to claim responsibility for this gooey piece of heaven? But enough about its origins. Let's make it. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And right off the bat, you have a choice to make. Let's talk about baking vessels. Growing up, we baked our pudding brownie style, sliced it up, and we topped our squares ourselves. This is a perfectly valid choice when you have a sea of sugar-hungry children to feed. Today, I'm baking my sticky toffee pudding in Ramekins. This is a solid choice if you're making this for an adult dinner party or you want to drop off a serving or two at a friend's house. So pick your poison and either grease an 8x8 pan or 6 half-cup ramekins with melted butter. Make sure you get every nook and cranny. Sticky toffee pudding is a delicate sponge. We don't want it to be met with any snags on the way out. Once everything is greased, set it aside and let's get the toffee sauce going. We want to give it a good 40 minutes to reach its optimal golden hue. Add 3/4 cup of heavy cream to a small saucepan. Add half a stick of chopped unsalted butter, 1/4 cup of light corn syrup, and half a cup of granulated sugar. Place the saucepan over medium-high heat and bring to a boil. Immediately reduce to a simmer and let the sauce cook until it reaches a deep amber color. Color.
Say it one more time.
Color. As I said, this should take 40 minutes. Don't rush it, you will burn it. With the toffee sauce trucking along, it's time to start the cake. And that starts with a little light chopping of some pitted whole dates. Now there is a little wiggle room when it comes to the quantity of the dates you use. I've made this recipe with 170 grams or 6 ounces of dates, and it was perfectly delicious, nothing wrong with it. But I've also made this recipe with 215 grams or 7.5 ounces of dates, and in my opinion, it was superior. Slightly less airy, but richer in flavor and moisture. I'm sorry, I know most of the world hates that word. So again, you have options, a spongier sponge or a rich pudding. Honestly, it's a tough call. Somewhere in between is also an option, in case you felt like you were lacking for options. Finely chop your chosen amount of dates and pop them into a small saucepan. Add 3/4 cup of water and place over medium heat. Cook until most of the water is absorbed. Then turn down the heat and immediately stir in 1 teaspoon of baking soda. The mixture will bubble like mad, but just keep stirring. It will smell like you've added too much, but I promise you won't taste baking soda in your final cake. The baking soda breaks the dates down further, so you won't be met with any chewy chunks of date in your finished pudding. The dates will more or less be mush at this point, so you can fold them into the finished batter. Incidentally, this is the same method I use to make the filling for my date squares. Set the dates aside and let cool. In a large bowl, whisk to combine 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, and half a teaspoon of ground cardamom. The ginger and cardamom are not traditional, I just like them. Set the dry ingredients aside, and in a separate bowl, add half a stick of softened unsalted butter and 3/4 of a cup of light brown sugar. Cream the two together using a stand or hand mixer before adding 1 room temperature egg. Beat the egg into the sugar butter mixture until smooth. Fold the dates into the wet ingredients. It's okay if they're still a little warm. Form a well in the center of the dry ingredients and add the wet. Stir, but don't over-mix the batter. I like to use a spoon for this step. It keeps my mixing in check. Evenly divide the batter across the 6 greased ramekins, or pour it into your greased 8x8 pan. Smooth the top and transfer to the oven. If you're going the ramekin route, it's best to arrange them on a baking sheet so you can transfer them to and from the oven as a single unit. If baking the pudding in ramekins, bake for 30 minutes or until a toothpick can be inserted in the center and removed cleanly. If you're baking your pudding in a pan, the cook time should be somewhere closer to 40 minutes. Now, if you're going the pan route, your work here is more or less done. Just let cool slightly before slicing and serving. But if you're working with ramekins, let them cool in their ramekins for 10 minutes before unmolding onto a cooling rack. By now, your toffee sauce, There's not enough room in this kitchen.
The galley. The ruin of all good comedy.
Oh, ow. Does it look really bad? You're laughing, so it looks amazing. I mean, I could do the elevator one. I have very bad knees. It's an old elevator. It even has an operator. We're very close to done, I'm sorry. By now, your toffee sauce should be close to the perfect shade. Take it off the heat and whisk in another 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream and half a teaspoon of salt. Transfer a warm cake to a plate and spoon some toffee sauce over top. Serve with unsweetened whipped cream, creme anglaise, or follow my lead and add a scoop of your favorite vanilla ice cream. Finish with a final drizzle of the toffee sauce and serve immediately. And that's all I could think to overthink about this sticky toffee pudding. I hope you indulge in this one, and if you do give it a go, let me know how it went in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to this channel. I post a new recipe every week and a ton of goodies along the way. Thank you for baking with me. I'll see you all next time.